Tony Grossi, ESPN Cleveland, with an observation from him, what he thinks is the biggest problem with the Browns.
Lack of football acumen. Okay, so the side of the building that favors going outside the box. Okay, that is modeling your organization after the Philadelphia Eagles and to some extent the Los Angeles Rams, two perennial winners. Okay, the difference is those two teams are the best drafting teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
They draft terrific.
Yes.
This team does not draft terrific. And no matter how much money you have at ownership and is willing to spend, the lifeblood of any team in the NFL is the draft. If you don't get that right, you have no chance for sustained success.
Casey, that's true. What I would say relative to that is the organizations that draft well are the organizations that don't change offensive coordinators, offensive systems, defensive coordinators, defensive systems. Because once you change a system, you have to change the personnel relative to that system, or you end up with the offense that we had this year.
Yeah, and if you're going to model your organization after someone, I'm looking at process here. Those are organizations I would want to model myself after. Now, the Browns are in a different position this year because they actually face some regression out of certain players from years past. Now, when that happens, all of a sudden your draft picks from 2022 and 2023 don't look as good because they didn't maintain that level of play. So you have to factor that in. It's not that these were bad players. Like I fully expect Martin Emerson to bounce back next season. Juwan Jones, he needs to get healthy, but he's a player that both those players we viewed as first round talents that were taken in later rounds. So you look at that process, and even though you didn't have first round picks, you came away with first round talent. Now that doesn't look like that here today because those players both had regressions in 2024. But as far as a process, if I'm going to model myself after those franchises, I have no problem with that going forward. I think that is the future of the NFL, and the Browns are on the cutting edge of many things. They need to hit. Now they see we actually have a first-round draft pick this year. They need to hit on that first-round draft pick. You need to accumulate that talent so you can keep this model going. But I have no problem with modeling yourself after two of the best in the NFL.
The other thing is just because of where you're going to be picking, your second-round draft pick should be an impact player as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something they haven't, and we've seen them trade out of the second round so many times. This is a year where okay, we've done the trade back thing. You have a ton of picks in this draft. Now, I don't expect them to make all those picks, especially in the later rounds. I expect them to trade those to get assets for future years. It seems to kind of be their model. But those first two picks, I 100% agree. You have to walk away with two players that will contribute this season. Then they have to be strong contributors and players that you believe going forward will be cornerstones of your franchise. You need to keep accumulating as many of those as possible so you have something to build off of. Because you're going on this process now. This will be their sixth draft cycle. So you're going to start to see players age out that have been here and throughout their career, which is something we hadn't had since '99. But you're starting to see that build up. But you have to start accumulating these guys that are going to be your future going forward.